Hey guys, we are here with Katie from Batik. It is a boutique here in Chicago, and we're going to be chatting all about starting up her business. She literally launched like 2 days ago, which is so wild, and we came out to be a part of the big launch party and get to see it all. I'll let you kind of get started. Do you want to just share a little bit about what Batik is?
Definitely. Batik is a coastal and travel inspired boutique here in Chicago, and we really specialize in small batch items and items that have like a handmade touch to them, whether it's hand embroidered or a little sparkle accent.
So when did the idea for Batik come to you?
I was kind of thinking about what all of our items had in common, and all of them do have like a handmade touch to them. And batik is actually a style that originated in Indonesia, and it is like a method of dyeing fabric. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like batik kind of sounds like boutique as a word.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cute. And then I like told my fiance about it, and he was like, oh my gosh, that is like so cool, because a lot of resort wear, the actual fabric, the material that's used to make the garments, is made in Southeast Asia. So I felt like it also kind of like paid homage to the artisans who make the fabrics that then become resort fashion that people wear when they travel. So that's kind of how it all came together. But during the pandemic, I was spending a lot of time in Florida with my parents and discovering all of these amazing southern coastal brands and realizing that you couldn't find them in Chicago anywhere. And so I really wanted to bring a lot of those brands to the city.
Okay, so the idea started then in like during the COVID, like during the pandemic.
Yep.
Okay, so before you were working a corporate job, right?
I was working at Chicago, and I was doing event planning, and I kind of wanted to do something like even more creative than what I was doing, but I really enjoyed doing something people facing, and that's why I like love the customer service aspect of this and actually getting to like build those customer relationships. But yeah, with this, I feel like I'm just really able to dig into my creative side, so that's been really fun.
So then that's like 2 years in the making, right? Like from idea to like actually everything that's around us. That's so crazy. Absolutely. So what was like the first step that you took to like making the idea like start like happening?
Yes. So basically I started talking to the designers that I met at these trunk shows in Florida and just floated the idea to them and said, you know, if I opened a store in Chicago, would you be like open to me carrying your line in my store? Like, what do you think? And a lot of them were super excited about it. They said they hadn't really entered the Midwest market before, and they're like, we know so many snowbirds of like people who come to Florida in the winter or like travel to warmer temps to escape the Chicago winters. They're like, that sounds like a really great concept, like we'd love to be a part of it. So once I started to kind of hear from people that it was something that they were interested in, I felt like that really just got me more excited about making it happen. So part of it was actually talking to the designers and the brands I wanted to carry. I've had a list in my phone of brands that I've loved for years. I was like, if I ever open a store, these are the brands that I want to carry. So part of it was like knowing that there was interest, and then I feel like the other side of it was doing informational interviews with other like boutique owners or store managers and really learning from them about what has like worked really well for them, and just kind of getting advice from them on opening. So I feel like with their encouragement too, that was really helpful, because I didn't have very much retail experience or background, and so a lot of them were like, yeah, neither did I just had a passion for what I carry, and you know, like encouraged me to do it. So
yeah, that's like so smart to even think like, let me like reach out and just like open conversation and like talk to people. Someone else that's just starting out, like they kind of are faced with, okay, do I do like online first, do proof of concept and then see, or do I get a physical store where I know that there's a lot of like traffic? What made you pick to do like both simultaneously?
One is that creative side of me like loved the like website element to it, and like working with you to come up with like the website design and how that like customer experience was going to be, and like the photo editing and everything, like that was really fun for me. So I feel like part of it was that side of the business I was excited about. But I think also during the pandemic, we really realized how vulnerable brick and mortar stores are, because you know they weren't getting as much foot traffic as they were pre-pandemic. And so when I started to think about the business, I was like, okay, having the two streams of income from both online and in store is super important for longevity. But also if we're open 5 days a week and we're closed Mondays and Tuesdays, then I know that we can still be making online sales during that time. So that was something too that was like a consideration in doing both. And there's already so much buzz when you're launching a business and launching the brick and mortar that all of our friends and family from across the US were so excited about being a part of it. And so I wanted to reach as many people as possible. And I feel like with this, we're just reaching so many more customers by having the online presence as well. And they can still be a part of like Batik and the experience. So in January, we actually found the space that we're in right now.
Oh, okay.
And it was a frozen yogurt shop. And when my dad actually came, he was like, Katie, I feel like this one's great. It's really a wide lot and it's in a great location. Like, have you considered it? And I said, you're absolutely crazy. Like, it's a frozen yogurt shop. There was literally like frozen yogurt equipment in the back. And I was thinking like, I don't know if we can transform the space. But then I realized that because it wasn't previously a space for a boutique, it gave me the opportunity to completely imagine what it could look like and custom design like what the customer experience would look like where the cash wrap is, how big the fitting rooms are, how many there are, how many different try-on areas there are, all of that. And so that was really special. So part of it was like finding the right space. That was the first step. Also because foot traffic is so important for a brick and mortar, and so knowing that this neighborhood that everyone likes to shop local and they're supportive of small business. So that was really like the first step I took, was finding the perfect space.
So big step. Yeah. Okay. So January to now September. So 9 months to like buy, build, and then in between do brands, photo, website, everything like
then
that.
I reached out to you for branding because I loved Alice in Wonder and I loved all she wrote, and so I was like, okay, perfect. I like absolutely have to like reach out to Kristen because those are two super successful boutiques in Chicago that I admired. So then I reached out to you, and then I also found the design build firm that helped build up the space. And then so I like met with a few different ones, and they actually had done mostly residential projects. And what I loved about that was that I didn't want the space to feel so stale and commercial. Like I wanted it to feel homey and welcoming. And so I thought bringing their style to the space would work really well. And so then I reached out to both of you.
Yeah, and like I feel like that fits so perfectly with your brand, where there is like this homey feel to it, and kind of like, I don't know, antique or vintage. They're handmade, like right? Like is like the right word.
Yeah, like these chairs are like vintage, but then we have new floors, so it's kind of like the mix of the old and new, which I feel like gives it that warmth and the inviting feel.
So far through the whole process, what has been your like favorite part, or like the most exciting part?
Yeah, I think the best part of it has been meeting so many amazing women, from working with you and your small business to also working with the design build firm, and they're local in Chicago. It's a husband and wife team, and then a lot of the designers are women and moms who've like decided to start their own line. So just like meeting so many other people and knowing that my small business is also supporting other small businesses has been like the coolest aspect of it. Is like we're just like, I feel like the synergy has just been amazing.
Like just like a loop. Okay, so now what has been like the most difficult, or like just like hard that you didn't really want to be going through?
Yeah, so I think that the hardest part has been not taking things personally when I'm having a down day, whether it was like waiting for the inspection with the city of Chicago, which we had no control over when that was going to happen, and then being able to move forward with the renovation of the space. So like things that are like outside of my control, and just letting go of that. But then also whenever it's slower or we get negative feedback on something, like not taking that personally, because I'm so invested in this business and I'm carefully selecting every single item that we're carrying, and carefully hiring the people that I have, and making sure that they're as passionate about the brand. So I guess not taking things personally because I'm so invested in the business.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get you on that, like 100%. Being like a designer and designing things and then presenting to somebody that's like, oh, can we tweak? You're like, it's just their business and we can't take personally. Yeah, I get that. And it sometimes is harder than you would like to.
Yeah, when you put your heart and soul in something and you believe in it, then, you know, it can be hard to take the feedback. But at the same time, I feel like that has been really helpful where people are like, you know, maybe it'd be great if you could carry more of like this size, or if you could carry more of this style. And it's like, okay, like I do need that feedback because that's what's going to make our business better.
What made you choose to work with a designer instead of like, hey, I'm starting out, I'm putting a lot of money into the physical space, I'm just gonna maybe DIY my brand or my website and put money into this?
Yeah. So I feel like your brand is so important because that's really how, you know, people come to understand your business and your mission, your values, and what you're about. And I feel like I'm so glad that I started working with you from the very beginning, because I remember even in April when I decided that, you know, I was thinking about the awning and the exterior, and I was like, okay, well now I have my brand colors, so now that can inform that decision. And then 5 months later when the awning arrived, you know, it was perfect. And same with like, you know, the backsplash over here and everything. So I feel like it's so important to start with branding for a business because that's going to guide every single decision. So like even the hang tags that are on our clothes now were part of a design that you came up with. So that's why I think from the very beginning having that decision, and then I was like, okay, now I feel comfortable moving forward with all these other details because I know what my colors are and just the feel of like the space too.
Right, yeah, exactly. The overall feeling, and then that way it's like so consistent. Because I think like I've seen others that have started and done it where they DIY'd in the beginning and then they end up going, you know, a few months down or a year down, and they end up feeling like really lost. Like everything ended up being disjointed because it was made through individual like decisions versus like, oh, it's all based on this like one core piece of a brand for feeling. Yeah, no, I so agree. But like obviously I agree as a designer, but like I'm always curious to know because I do think that there is like room for a route in business where if you don't have the money to begin with, that shouldn't stop you at all to like definitely go the DIY route.
And I feel like you can totally do that too, but the consistency is so key. So that for us, from like the hang tag to the awning to the shopping bag to our Instagram, that like everything just like feels cohesive.
Yeah, especially like when it's physical like this. How has it been building a team? Like kind of going from, okay, this is me and my idea to now I need to like get people that are on board with this dream and vision and like have the business become an extension of me, you know?
So I feel like it actually happened really serendipitously because a couple of my friends had reached out with an interest in being a part of the business in some way, and I feel like I'm really grateful that I have just this amazing community around me of people who are really supportive. But I had no idea that they were going to be like even interested in being as involved with the business as working together. So that was like a really fun surprise. But one of my friends, for example, she at some point wants to launch her own business. So she asked if she could come for, you know, the 3 months before opening and kind of see the behind the scenes of getting a business started. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And we've grown so close throughout the process of working together. So that was just kind of like a fun surprise that ended up working out. And she's actually going to stay on as our like operations and inventory manager and continue to like do that remotely. And I feel like some people say, you know, it can be hard to work with friends, but in my experience, I feel like when you do work with someone who you've known before, there's like an extra level of care there because they also like already care about you as a person, and therefore as an extension of you, the projects that you're working on, and in this case, Batik as like an extension of me. And so I feel like they have really gone the extra mile because there was also that friendship. So it's kind of interesting how I found that it's actually like kind of made us grow closer, and same with my social media manager as well. And a head of digital, she was a friend first, and then now we're working together, and I feel like it's actually made us like closer as friends, and just like grown to appreciate each other and our skill sets in a new way. So I think super important to, in general, just find people who have different skill sets than you that complement them. But I would say like don't shy away from someone who you know, if they're interested in working with you, like be open to it because you never know what could happen from that.
Right. I feel like we get the advice so often of like, don't work with family or friends. Like you don't want to mix business and personal. And it's like, it doesn't have to be like that. You know, if you have like a great relationship and you can talk, it can get even better, like even deeper. I love that they just like reached out and they're like, can we be a part of it? That's so good.
So in my experience, it's been really, really positive that we did know each other first and that we like already had this level of mutual respect for each other, and it's just really like grown from there, I feel like. So yeah, I would say be open to it if you have a friend or family member who wants to join your small business, because yeah, they can bring their skills to bear on your project.
Yeah.
One thing that is really important if you are working with family or friends is like setting boundaries around like what is like friend time and what is work time, and that's been something that has worked so well for us, is that we'll say, okay, I'm in work mode right now, so I'm sorry if my tone sounds like I'm in, you know, total work mode, because that's just like where my mindset is right now. And then being able to then be like, okay, we've now like left the store, or we're no longer working on this project, and we're gonna go get frozen yogurt and have friend time, and being able to kind of like, set those boundaries around your time and what you're working on, I feel like is really important if you work with family or friends.
Yeah, that's such good advice. So like, my husband is the studio manager and my brother is the web developer and designer. So we have to do like very similar things like that. Okay, like we're on right now, you know, or like we're off, and I'm like, now I'm just complaining to you, but it's not as a boss, like it's just as a friend now. So how has the response been so far? Like I know launch day was amazing. We're gonna have like a full episode dedicated to the launch day so that everyone can see behind the scenes of stuff. But like, how has the response been so far?
It's been super, super positive. I'm really grateful. One of the reasons I picked Southport is because people are so fiercely loyal to shopping within the neighborhood, to shopping local and supporting the small businesses here. So I've had so many people who come in who like, oh, we've like, you know, saw the window coverings that you designed, and we followed on Instagram, and we're just so excited to see you open, and we've been looking forward to coming in. And I feel like that means so much when locals come in and they'll say like, this is something that the neighborhood needed, and we've been looking for a store like this to open. I feel like that's the biggest compliment, because it just like means so much to hear that from someone like in the neighborhood, because we want to be a part of this community. So that I feel like that's been the best part.
That's fantastic that you've had that response, that if people have even been following from that point to like still come in and stuff. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
Thank you.
So what's the future of Batik? Like, do you have any other plans in the coming years, or even like 5 years down the line? Like, what's your thought?
Well, I think in the immediate, I'd love to kind of bring my event planning experience to bear on the store. And so hosting like pop-up events and community partnerships. So we actually already have like trunk shows lined up for the rest of the year. So in October, coming up, we're gonna do a candle pop-up with a local candle business, and part of her proceeds goes towards preventing animal cruelty. And so we really liked the mission of that. So that's coming up in October. In November, we're doing a collaboration with like jewelry designer, Dana Rebecca. So they're gonna set that up, and we thought also like fun gift ideas for the holidays. And then in December, we're gonna have someone who, she makes greeting cards, but she also will do calligraphy for like to from notes that you can tie onto a gift. And so she's gonna come in December. So very excited about having these like kind of regular pop-up events as well, so our customers get to experience something new in addition to coming in the store, and also hopefully support those businesses as well. And so I feel like that's kind of in the immediate. And down the line, I think just really kind of seeing the direction the store wants to go in. Do we want to continue to do like a combination of resort wear and vacation wear in combination with seasonal, or are people really looking for one or the other? I think that that's something that I'm interested in, as well as, do we want to continue to do both home decor and fashion, or, you know, are people more excited about one or the other? So I think that I think that information gathering right now is going to be super helpful to kind of inform the direction we go in.
Yeah, oh my god, I didn't even know that you had like pop-ups scheduled, and that's like so cool. I can't wait to see it all on like Instagram and stuff, but like the fact that you're already like on it and you have everything scheduled is so good. So final question, what advice do you have for another fellow business owner that's like just starting out?
I would say find people in your industry to do those informational interviews with and those copies. I think that that's just so important to learn from those who've been really successful in whatever area you're going into. So I would say start like building those relationships, and like the store manager at All She Wrote, Katie, she's been so fantastic. And so even the other day I had like a Shopify situation that I had a question about, and I just texted her because we'd already built that relationship, and she was able to kind of troubleshoot with me. And so I feel like having those mentors who are kind of like in the area that you're in, or those go-to people, is just so helpful.
It's crazy that was the same advice that
Yeah.
Jennifer from All She Wrote like gave, like have like connection and networking and people, and more than networking has like an icky like connotation sometimes, but like just building genuine relationships with people. I love that. I can't wait to see like everything else that happens with your store, and I'm so stoked that I got to like come and see it all. But if you loved this video, we're gonna keep doing more of them with different business owners and just interviews and getting to just talk casual conversation style. So if you liked the video, actually hit the like button below and subscribe, and we will see you next time.